You are listening to the Adult Sabbath School lessons for the third quarter of 2022. This is lesson number 11 of the Adult Sabbath School Bible Study Guide in the Crucible with Christ. The lesson is titled Waiting in the Crucible and is ready for teaching on September 10. The author is Pastor Gavin Anthony, who was conference president in Iceland when he wrote this series of lessons. Today, your lesson is read by Dr. Percy Harrold. Monday, September 5, In God's Time. Read Romans chapter 5, verse 6 and Galatians 4, verse 4. What do they tell us about God's timing? Romans 5, verse 6, For when we were still without strength, in due time Christ died for the ungodly. And Galatians 4, verse 4, But when the fullness of time had come, God sent forth his Son, born of a woman, born under the law. In these verses, Paul tells us that Jesus came to die for us at exactly the right time. But Paul does not tell us why it was the right time. It is very easy to read these verses and wonder, why did Jesus wait for thousands of years until he came to the earth to deal with sin? Didn't the universe understand that sin was a very bad thing long before then? We may ask why Jesus is waiting to come the second time as well. We also may ask, why is the Lord waiting so long to answer my prayer? Think about, for instance, the 70-week prophecy of Daniel 9, 24-27, the prophecy that points to Jesus as the Messiah. Review it if you need to. Yes, we will review it in a moment. How long was this time period? What does this tell us about learning to wait for the things in God's time, even if it takes what seems to us a long time? Daniel 9, beginning at verse 24. 70 weeks are determined for your people and for your holy city to finish the transgression, to make an end of sins, to make reconciliation for iniquity, to bring in everlasting righteousness, to seal up vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the command to restore and build Jerusalem until Messiah the Prince, there shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. The street shall be built again, and the wall even in troublesome times. And after the 62 weeks, Messiah shall be cut off, but not for himself. And the people of the prince who is to come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary. The end of it shall be with a flood, and till the end of the war desolations are determined. Then he shall confirm a covenant with many for 1 week. But in the middle of the week he shall bring an end to sacrifice and offering. And on the wing of abominations shall be one who makes desolate, even until the consummation which is determined is poured out on the desolate. There are many important spiritual reasons why we will experience waiting times. First, waiting can refocus our attention away from things and back to God himself. Second, waiting allows us to develop a clearer picture of our own motives and desires. Third, waiting builds perseverance, spiritual stamina. Fourth, waiting opens the door to developing many spiritual strengths such as faith and trust. Waiting allows God to put down other pieces in the puzzle of the bigger picture. Sixth, we may never know the reason we have to wait. Hence, we learn to live by faith. Can you think of any other reasons for waiting? And so to finish today, what examples can you find in the Bible of God doing things in his own time that can help you learn to trust that he will do for you what's right in his own time as well? Things, for instance, about Abraham and Sarah and the promise of a son. At the same time, ask yourself, what might I be doing that could be delaying the answer to a prayer that could have been answered long ago? This lesson was read by Dr. Percy Harrold for Christian Services for the Blind. Sponsored by the Sabbath School Department and distributed through Hope Channel Australia, this podcast is also redistributed by Hope Channel Germany, Christian Record Services for the Blind. It is also available on SoundCloud and through multiple podcast distributors, including Apple iTunes. And you can listen and watch at the same time on YouTube. Remember, God is always faithful.